Hello YouTube, this is AJ Cubing, and today we are going to be building this half truncated 3x3 without all the big heavy machinery. So I decided to do this mod on the guanlong I had lying around, and the first thing I did was cut off the corners with a knife so that I knew where I was going to make my cuts. I then put the cube on a cube stand which allowed for the 45-degree angle that made it a lot easier to cut through it with my hacksaw. And this was quite a bad process. As you can see, it was going all over the place and the saw was really sort of tearing into the plastic, but after I managed to neaten up a bit, it looks somewhat okay. So the next thing I did was take apart the puzzle so that I could start milliputting the individual pieces. The technique I use for milliputting is to put some tissue paper in at the bottom, but making sure it doesn't come above the layer that you want it to go in, and then just press the milliput in until you get something roughly flat that goes a bit over the hole that you need. I then sanded down the edges of the pieces with a nail file, which meant it would be nice and flush and everything would fit together properly, and I could then reassemble the puzzle as it was with the milliput inside of it. And it looked a bit jaggedy and a bit bumpy everywhere, but I was happy with the overall shape of it, that it looked roughly what I wanted it to be like. I then took it over to my sandpaper where I was able to grind it down into a roughly flat shape, and yes, this would be a lot easier with a belt sander, but again I don't have one of those, and I think the outcome of it was pretty good actually, considering how much effort it took. And I then took the nail file and sanded all of the pieces individually, which basically just made them a lot softer, and so it didn't have all the grit from the sandpaper on it. I then reassembled it for the final time, and I was really happy with how the shape was looking. It all looked sort of flat with each other and nothing looked particularly out of place, and so I was really happy to move on and go and spray paint the puzzle. I decided to spray paint the puzzle as a whole whilst it was still assembled, which ended up being a bad idea because all of the pieces ended up sticking together and I had to keep turning it and then disassemble it and get rid of all the muck on the inside of the pieces. So next time I do this, I'll go back to spray painting the pieces individually. But yeah, I am very pleased with how the spray paint job turned out. As you can see, it looks quite nice here. And then I went and stickered it all up. So there we have it guys, the cube is fully complete now. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I did all the stickering off camera, but as you can see we've got the standard colour scheme and then gold, pink, purple and black. I'm not so happy with the black, it looks a bit dull and I think I might replace it with the brown later on. But yeah, I'm super happy with how this puzzle looks, especially considering I didn't use a bandsaw or a belt sander and I wasn't even sure whether this was possible without either of those. So yeah, I will have another modding video out for you next week, but until then guys, I'll see you all later. Bye!